So we're here. We're live again Friday night. Thanks for joining us. I've had some lovely messages today, actually, from people about how much they've enjoyed these sessions. I think we'll definitely run another week. So we'll do another 5 next week. So if you have any questions, then we'll do them on Tuesday. If there's anything you want us to cover, then let us know and we can cover them later in the week. It looks like there's some places opening up. We've had word on the street that mic's not on the right place, that Master Chagra is opening next week. So that's our Red Sea resort where we stay in tents. So that's open. The 1st of June or something, with obviously social distancing involved, but flights to Egypt maybe in August. So there's nothing's guaranteed, but it does look like it's kind of moving in that direction. I did put out a notice that we have tentatively penciled in a trip to so Freefest is definitely happening. So Cornwall, the 18th, or arriving on the 17th of July. Freefest is definitely happening. It's opening up, so that's happening. Then we have Menorca, probably not. That's in Spain, but we have got the yacht, the Greek yacht, the last week in September. We've got that. We've booked that. And I think we'll be able to get there. Flights to Greece are opening up in June, later in June to the smaller airports. So September that. And we have a liveaboard in the deep southern Red Sea. So that's down past Marsa, down, not in Sudan, but down that kind of way. And that's the last week in October. So if you're interested in them, let us know. Apart from that, this week, don't forget, or rather next week, next Wednesday, we have a club session, socially distanced, Richmond Park, Kingston Gate, Richmond Park. So you can't park in the park, but there's street parking around there. So come join us. We'll meet about 7, 7:15 for a 7:30 start. It'll be fun, and it'll be a good crack. So, without further ado, I was thinking about this. I think about it quite a lot. But as I start talking to the people who are running the trips or helping organise the trips, and I keep coming across the same questions as what makes a good dive site, and how do you pick the dive sites? So literally looking at the trips that we've got coming up. So we've got Freefest, we've got the yacht trip, and we've got the Red Sea liveaboard. So the yacht trip, we exclusively work with Panos and Elias, EY Sailing. And there's a reason why we do that. And that's because they understand what we're doing. The first time we went out, we said, we want to test a sled or something in some deep water. And he said, okay, we'll park the yacht over there, and then we can get the little rib back here, and you can dive off the back of the rib. I went, no. That's not the point of it. The whole point is that you got the yacht. You could dive off the yacht. They went, well, it's like 60, 70 meters here. You can't anchor in deeper than 20 meters. And I went, well, then this is not going to work. I don't want to dive off a dinghy. I want to dive off the yacht. Elias and Panos put their heads together, went down the front of the boat, the pointy end, and had a discussion, and then came back and went, I think we can do it. And they've over the last 5 years that we've been working together, they've been really working on the technical side of it, so that we can say, wow, this looks great, let's dive here. And so we can now, they can now anchor in 60 meters of water, which might sound dramatic, but if you think if there's an edge, like kind of the beach is here and it's kind of dropping down, and there's something interesting here, they can't anchor close because the boat could spin around and hit the rocks or whatever. So they've got to anchor quite far out. So just because they're anchoring in 60, 70 meters doesn't mean so we're diving in 60 or 70 meters, but it does give you a kind of an idea of where we're going to be. And every time we go there, we try and mix up. We've got some amazing dive sites, some awesome dive sites. They all have names relating to them, so we can remember where they are. Well, what the interesting thing is there, but it's very easy to go on the yacht trip and go, okay, well, we've got 8 amazing sites, so let's just go around those sites. But that's not the point. The point is to find new places, and new places aren't going to be all awesome. And they might be. The whole excitement is that you may find another awesome site. But we try. Now, Elias is on the boat there, and he's an awesome skipper. Panos, who's there actually most of the time as well for us. Awesome skipper, and they're really enthusiastic about finding new places. They never go, oh well, maybe we'll do that tomorrow, next time. But we'll just dive the normal ones. We're always up for a good adventure, and that's what it's about. It's about enjoying the place, not just going to the same old locations. Here's this, and it reminded me of the points. Okay, so when you're learning something. Okay, so you've got to have all these points, and I genuinely thought of this earlier today and went, oh yeah, they're the points. So you've got to have failure. The whole point of trying to hunt down new dive sites is there's a possibility of failure, that they might be rubbish. Now, one time Panos said, oh yeah, that island over there's called the Hollow Island. I went, the Hollow Island, let's go. He said, no, you probably don't want to. No, if it's hollow, we're going there. It's got a whole, it's caves in it. Let's go. And we went there, and it was just basically crumbling mud, and it was awful. It was shallow, like really shallow, like 2-3 meters, and the rocks were just crumbling mud, and it was like, oh man, this is dreadful. And it was a failure, utter failure. But 2 things came out of that. One, we know it's rubbish, but 2, people get the kit on, jump in, have a look. And there are, I could tell you a list, I could give you a list of people who have said, oh yeah, no, I'll leave it today. I'm not going to jump in and explore with you today. And then they've missed something incredible. They only do it once. Only miss it once. It's also got a bit of challenge. There's no point in going to these dive sites and them just being super easy. Okay, some of them are super easy, some of them are super easy, and sometimes we put our own challenges on them, like the duck pond, trying to get in without being seen, which is a bit of a challenge. And we can go through all these points, and it relates every time. I'm not going to go through them all now, but luck, as Ian says, if we had a superpower, it would be lucky. And I seem to be quite lucky when I run trips. So one story reminds me, there was early on in Free Fest, one of the early Free Fests. We had quite a few dive sites on the south. We had none on the north, and it was this particular week or this day, the waves were coming in like on the south coast like crazy, and I saw these kind of little rocks, and there's things I look for on the map. So when every trip we do, I spend a lot of time researching, getting an idea of the lay of the land, literally the lay of the land. And I'd seen this little point, and I thought, yeah, that looks interesting. And We found a car park. We managed to get special permission to park in a farm, and everybody kind of kitted up. I think we kitted up there. So we went so we got about 12 people walking through down this slippery path from main road, private road, changed in a farm, and then off down a little private road. And it was a long walk, and a couple of us had scouted on ahead and knew it was a long walk to the sea. And people are like, are you sure this is the right way, Marcus? Are you sure? And people were getting a little bit like kind of kind of not quite sure, thinking maybe they'll turn back and have an early dinner. We're hot and sweaty in your suits and slip and slide in as you kind of walk down this little path, and it kind of went into some bushes, and people worried about ripping their suits. And there was the last house on this path, and I don't know how you get to this house. I mean, maybe there's a back route to it or something, but this house is literally in the middle of nowhere. So there's about 12 of us walking down with our kit bags and wetsuits on. And the little old lady comes out. Oh, hello. What are you guys doing? And oh yeah, we're free diving. Oh right, yeah. Come to dive with the seals, have you? Yes, seals. That's what we're here for. Oh yeah, Seal Island. Yeah, it's great down there. We're like, everyone's like, yeah, and I'm at the back going, yeah. Well, I knew Seal Island. I didn't want to big it up by calling it Seal Island, And of course, that's what became Seal Island. And it was completely luck. Well, it wasn't completely luck because we looked it up and kind of went there, but it was a little bit lucky that you could even get in the water there. But that was quite funny. We had no idea what to expect, and this little old lady, oh, the Seal Island, yeah. Anyway, so so that's the point. The point is that we go out there and explore and try and find new places. Now, this gives us ideas. So obviously we know Raisbury quite well. We know some of the other inland dive sites, and obviously when we're out on the yacht, we know some of the dive sites. But knowing that we're going to go and explore places that we've never seen before, it means the instructors and the seniors start to know what we're looking for in divers. And it's not about depth, and it's not about time. It really, really isn't. Just it's about their ability to follow instructions, their ability to understand the situation they're in, and not just kind of randomly kind of dive on their own, and work as a team. As yesterday I was talking about, or the day before yesterday, I was talking about how many people it takes to do so many photo shoots, 6-10 people, and everybody is working for that one shot. But nobody cares, particularly if the shot doesn't come out. It's a bit disappointing, but we get on with it. We'll try again, something another day. Again, that failure, the challenge of failure. And we got to have that in the trips. And we have to make judgment calls every time. So we're out there, we'll have 4 or 5 divers on the yacht, and we're really going, okay, we can do this dive, we can do that dive with the people we've got here. And of course, when we get to the dive site, like for instance the ladder, like yesterday I showed a video of Darren, or the day before I showed of Darren going through the ladder, and I was talking about how we filmed it. But the fact that Darren did that swim through the ladder is kind of like maybe 25% of the dive. We as instructors, now Darren's a senior, so he understands these sort of things. But let's kind of pretend he's not. He says, I'd like to dive through the ladder. Okay, that's fine. That's what he wants to do. Then the seniors have got to look around and make a judgment call if there's enough safety for him. If there is a possibility of filming it, then how are we going to set up that safety? And the people in the group, are they okay to follow instructions and kind of set this up? And again, working as a team, all of us together, just to give Darren that dive. And Darren might, sticky ear, might have bailed. Nobody minds. That's fine. We've set it up. We've spent 20 minutes working it out, etc., etc. And doing the dive. It's a challenge. And amount of times we fail. We don't count them. We don't. It's not even countable. I mean, it's just not. Not even counted. But when it comes off, that video comes out and it's cracking. Everybody in the team there knows what they did their bit, and it came together. And so when we're looking for dive sites, we really have to assess the group and the type of dives we're doing. We could go back to the ladder the week later and not do any filming, or not take the sled, or do take the sled, or whatever. So I looked up some dive guides. Now they're a little bit old, a bit sketchy. Anybody who's done scuba will kind of recognise the kind of thing I'm talking about, to give you an idea what we're looking for. So, for instance, when we're out on the yacht, we are looking for caves. Why are we looking for caves? Because we know they're caves, and we know that if there's a fault line in the rock where the water hits, where the rock hits the water, and there's a cave, there's likely to be some sort of interesting formations underneath it. Okay. Now it's all beautiful, so you could dive anywhere around the Ionian Islands. Just jump in; it'll be beautiful. But we're trying to look for something that's a little bit different, a little bit unique, a little bit kind of amazing, like the pressure chamber that Hipster found. Just awe-inspiringly beautiful. But you got to be there hunting and looking and trying to find these places to find them. Anyway, so I found some of these dive guides. Now, this may look quite a good dive site, and it wouldn't be too bad for freediving. It would not be too bad. But if you look closely, the wreck's at 30 meters. Now, it's really easy for people to go at 30 meters. I can dive to 30 meters. Let's go see this wreck. But we want to enjoy being there. Okay, so if we look around the group and there's a few people diving at 10 meters and a few people diving at 30 meters, there's no way we'd go to this dive site, because the people who are diving to 30 meters are not going to be able to dive there very often. Okay, they're not going to be able to stay there very long and explore, and the people who are diving 10 meters are kind of a little bit left behind, especially on this dive site, because it's a wall that just goes down. Now, we might do it as a second dive. It's going to be pretty. There's going to be currents running through it. It's in the southern Red Sea, so there's going to be some good currents, and which means that you might always see some big pelagic. So we might do it anyway as a second dive, but it's not going to be a cracking dive. Okay, even if the wreck is beautiful, because it's not really a group friendly. Okay, so I don't know the names of these. This is such an old dive guide that I think they've changed all the names anyway. So next up, oh, hang on, it's frozen. Boom. Okay, so now this is a little bit better. Okay, so we've got a reef at the top, and now this is a scuba route. Now, the interesting thing with scuba routes is they want a nice long reef. That's what they're looking for, and they want basically 2 levels, so they can swim along at the deep, then come up, and then come back on their shallow while they're doing their stop, which is why this is kind of in the book. And the depths are quite nice, so a maximum of 30 meters, which is nice. What's that on the right? Is that like a chest? A hidden treasure chest on the right. Okay. So this wouldn't be too bad for us, because what we're looking for is up, down. Okay. If you give us a column, 3 divers could dive at a column, very narrow column, all day long. Okay, whereas scubies wouldn't look at it. So you look at a scuba dive, book of dive sites. They're all long because they want to swim along them, but we want to swim up and down them. So this wouldn't be too bad. Maximum depths of 30, but at 15 there's a kind of plateau or something, and you've got those kind of shallower things on the left over there as well. So this wouldn't be too bad. And the fact is, you dive at the top, you go down, you're going to see loads of stuff on the reef. It doesn't matter how deep you go. You could snorkel it. Okay. Whereas somebody who wants to go into free fall and do a nice glide along the side of the reef, they could do that. Hit the glide at maybe 10 meters or so and just glide diagonally all the way along the reef. That would be pretty sweet. And it's going to be good visibility, and your buddy can follow you on the top as well. So it's really nice to have a floor. Okay. I say this quite a lot. We dive deep so that we can dive shallow for longer. So if you know you can go to mid-30s, then when you're on a 20-meter dive site, you're like, yeah, this is well within, and you can relax and you can start enjoying it at another level. Okay. Yeah, thanks, Gabby. They're pretty sketchy, but this is the kind of thing you'll find in dive guides, okay, on the old plastic cars they have out there as well. Okay, so this is another lovely little dive site, 25 meters, but look at the pillars. This is what we want. Now, the scuba, they probably wouldn't rate this too well, because it's kind of all the same height, and they're kind of doing kind of a loop around or just bimbling. But for us, each of those sea mounts, you could put 4 people on each of the sea mounts. They could all have a 2-hour dive, and nobody would see the same thing. Which means when you get back, oh, did you see the such and such? No, I didn't see the such and such. Because they're there, and equally well, if something swims past one, you can heads up and hey, watch out! There's a shark coming past, or a manta ray coming past, or whatever it is. And manta ray's not likely to be that shallow, but eagle ray or something. So you can still enjoy as a group, okay, but you're all having your individual dives and having the exploration. So every person is in their group of 3 divers, and they're finding new things. And that's the best thing, to come up and say, hey, if you go down there, just under that rock, there's an octopus, there's a hole, there's a whatever, whatever it is. And the kick you get out of coming up and saying you found something, and then somebody else said, let me go, and go and try and find it, and they never find it. They do, but quite often not. They come back and say, well, I didn't see it. Oh no, it's there, and then you 20 minutes, and you're interacting and finding stuff. It's awesome. So that's not too bad a little dive site there. I'd like to go there and take a group there. Okay. Again, you've got shallow, you've got deep, and those reef heads look like they're underwater. So again, if you can snorkel it and there's 20 meters or so underneath you, you're kind of in the right ballpark for pretty much everyone. Now this one, look at that! What a wreck! No, wouldn't go there, because it only starts getting interesting at 55, maybe a little bit shallower, 30 meters. Which, getting interesting at 55 is, so somebody can dive down to say 20 and see the wreck, but instantly lose all that interaction, because somebody goes down and finds something, comes back and goes, hey, I found nobody else can go down there. Oh, okay, then, well, I found it anyway. It's kind of flat. Other people can see it from the surface, but it's not. The whole group's not involved in it, and that's what we're looking for. So if you saw this and somebody offered you this, we'd probably say, yeah, not today, because in the shallow 35 or whatever, so those car maybe at 20 meters or something, diving down 20 meters to see a car, yeah, I think we'll pass on that. Okay. So although this on paper looks awesome, massive wreck, sitting at an angle, probably got loads of little holes in, and sharks apparently. They always put sharks in these pictures, but actually, as for a group, it's probably not all that. And in fact, even if you've got a really experienced deep group with a sled, the amount of time you can spend at depth is so narrow. It's there's a lot of effort for not very much time at the bottom. Right? Now here, however, this is what we're talking about. This is the daddy. Okay, so you've got some shallow on the surface. You've got some big gaps, so there's going to be currents running through them. You've got some gorgeous pinnacles. Pinnacles are the best because you can free fall past them, and as soon as you stop kicking, as soon as you stop moving and start sinking, the fish aren't scared of you. And I always teach, wherever we go, I teach hunting. So in the Red Sea, it's you hunting glassfish. And the way you hunt glassfish is there'll be a wall with a big cloud of glassfish on the outside. Now, if you swim towards them, they will go into the reef. Okay, if you swim kind of down into, in fact, most of the time, if you make a splash on the surface, they're gone. Actually, so if you dive a few times, they get a little bit more used to your splashing. But the big cloud out here, the way you want to do it is you dive far away or along the wall, down, go along, and then just float up through them, and they split. Okay? And this is just a technique of how you hunt glassfish. Okay, and I'll teach it, and we get people kind of in the right positions, and we do it, and it's amazing when you see somebody has tried a couple of times, or there's a group of people and a few people have tried, and one person just nails it, and you can't move at all. So you have to decide which way you want to look as you're floating up. Get your buoyancy right. So you start floating up. And you keep looking in one direction, because if you move your head, they're gone. So you say, right, I'm gonna, and somebody just by luck nails it that there's something of interest, and they're nailing it, looking the right way. When everybody in the group sees that happen, and they see these fish splitting as the person comes through, well, you want to whoop, you want to cheer, you want but you can't obviously because you'll. But then they get to the surface, and that's it. Whoa, you had a dive, that was an awesome dive. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. So this is a beautiful dive site. This is exactly what we're looking for. And if you look on the depths on the sides, it's maybe a maximum depth of like 20 meters or something. Yeah, we can go deeper than that, but we all know the life is in the first 20 meters of water. So some nice pinnacles, some nice drop-offs, some nice table corals in there, and of course sharks, because I always put sharks in there. And apparently a massive blue spotted ray, twice as long as a human. I didn't say these pictures were fantastic. Anyway, so hopefully this gives you a little bit of an idea about what we're looking for when we look for dive sites, whether you're coming on a trip with us or if you're going with somebody else. And so many times people say, hey, I've got a boat, or I've known a place and I know this, and you should try and go here, you should try and go there. And there's places all over the world that we can go to. But the group enjoyment is most important. So it narrows down what you can do. And, if we're going out on a boat with all the best will in the world, somebody's got a boat, and we have to kind of teach them how we want them to kind of do stuff. Takes a lot of time, and they might not be interested in freediving, after our trip. So it kind of gets really messy. This is why we go to the same places with the same people, because they understand what we want, and as a group we can explore and find new things, and as a group have a cracking good time, and that's what it's all about. So that concludes this session and this week's session. Don't forget, next week I've got some one-to-one sessions. I'm doing some one-to-one Zoom meetings. So if you want a Zoom one-to-one that we can talk about where you're going, what you want to do, how you want to train, we can do that. I'm charging £10 for a half an hour consultation, which is not very much at all. But really, I really want people to take us up on that, so we can just have a chat and kind of focus in on what you want to do in the coming months. And we got the one-to-one open water sessions on Monday, Tuesday, and then the group session on Wednesday. So hopefully I'll meet you all next week, either in a session or in a session, and live streams will carry on for another week. Any ideas of what you want me to cover, please message me, question Q&A on Tuesday night. Okay, so thank you very much, and see you.